Hello, everybody, and my name is Narendra Kumar, and we are from Narendra Academy. And today we have a very interesting activity where we master English via stories of famous people with grammar analysis. So today we are doing that, and why we need to do grammar analysis is because even if you know English, reading is something very a special skill. So if we do a little bit of careful, precise reading, then we get a very clear, deep understanding of any text. And once we get that skill, just imagine the whole world is yours because you can read anything and get that information perfectly. So this is very close to my heart, and I would like to give that skill to large numbers of people. So we have taken a story of a famous person. Today's story is of Albert Einstein's, and I've titled the story "Life is a Miracle." So what we'll be doing is I'll be reading this story. While reading, we will do precise reading with a bit of grammar analysis. So we'll start. Life is a miracle. Einstein said once, some people live as if nothing is a miracle. So some people here is subject, live is the first form of a V1, we can call it. So some people live because it is a habit. We are using simple present tense. Some people live as if. As if is a linking word there, a connector. Nothing is a miracle. And connector again. Some live as if everything is a miracle. Einstein said once, because it's past, say becomes said. Einstein said once, some people live as if is the linking word, nothing is a miracle, and some people live as if everything is a miracle. So we got a complete understanding of that sentence, just with a little bit of grammar analysis. Einstein lived his whole life seeing everything. Einstein lived his whole life, past. Lived is past there. Live becomes lived. His whole life seeing everything as a miracle. His eyes and mind, his heart and soul, it's a long subject here, saw. See becomes saw, the beauty and wondrous world of ours. So there's a lot of feeling there. Saw the beauty and wondrous world of ours. He saw, see becomes saw there, the world exclusively like that. So that is the essence of Einstein. Einstein was a genius because he looked at the world with an extraordinary sense of beauty and wonder. Made him probe. So we got a nice word there. So one more reason why we must do grammar analysis is also because we also get good words through stories. This made him probe. Probe means go deep into the deepest secrets contained in the physical world. So he thought of things which people did not think about at that time. This also made him somewhat detached and distant from a world that is a linking word that did not share his feelings. Did not, a simple past tense, did not share his feelings. So when you read two words at a time, you just imagine how well you can read and how well you can enjoy any story. This also made him somewhat detached and distant from a world that did not share his feelings. All his life, this childlike sense of wonder. Childlike, like a child. A child sees the world with a great sense of wonder. He kept that childlike sense of wonder all his life. All his life, this childlike sense of wonder was his. And till the end, the greatest genius of science was actually a very simple and humble man. So how strange, someone who is so brilliant is also very simple, because for him it was the reality of things, the wonder of things, that was far more important than any name or position or money he could get. Einstein was born in 1979 on the 14th of March to Hermann Einstein and Pauline Koch. He was slow. So you have was here. He was slow. This is, as we know, in grammar state where you have no action word. So since it's past, we keep was there. He was slow in his speaking. Speaking is used more like a noun here, and even in thinking, and was not a brilliant student. But there's a very, very big but. He saw. He was open. He was open, which means his heart, mind, and soul was open to the wonder of the world. He had clear. His eyes were clear. Profoundly. Profoundly means, it's a very beautiful word, very deep, very, there's a depth in it. Profoundly deep and pure eyes. That is a linking word there. Could see and feel deeply about things. So can becomes could in the past. He had clear, profoundly deep and pure eyes that could see and feel deeply about things. When he was young, he saw. When he was young, first sentence. Okay. When he was young, he saw a compass needle and he was struck with wonder. Now just imagine, many people, we all see things like that, but we don't wonder about it. It doesn't disturb us or shake us, but it shook Einstein. That's what made Einstein Einstein. When he was young, he saw a compass needle and he was struck. Passive voice, he was struck. He didn't strike, he was struck with wonder. How is it that this whole earth is a magnet and affects the needle? That was his question. How is it that this whole earth is a magnet and affects the needle? So the very fact of this whole earth being a magnet was a fact which had a deep impression. A deep impression was made in his mind. Was made. He didn't make an impression. The impression, passive voice, was made in his mind. Another event happened at the age of 12. He found a geometry book and he was struck. Again he was struck. See, so things are striking him. He was struck by the mathematical beauty and logic of the theorems in it. So all of us read the theorems, but some of the scientific-minded people, they are struck by it. They feel it. He read with great interest, read with great interest and developed a deep feeling for mathematics. Later, after 3 years, a medical student, now he was very lucky to find a very nice teacher, young teacher, a medical student, a visitor to his house, introduced him to a whole range. Introduced past him to a whole range of topics in philosophy, electricity, light. He became well versed with Maxwell's theory of electromagnetic waves. So that was the time when Maxwell had formulated his theory of electromagnetic waves. They are called Maxwell's equations. So the whole theory of electromagnetic waves and Maxwell's proof, and his means Maxwell's proof that is a linking word there, light is also electromagnetic. Einstein was hooked deep within. Hooked means, is a beautiful word there, he was caught deep within with all this wondrous and fascinating facts. So Einstein was struck by these wondrous and fascinating facts. He felt his past. He felt all was not known to man. There was great mystery still. There's another aspect of Einstein. There's another aspect of Einstein. Sorry, he felt there was great mystery still. Later, he got a job at the patent office and married Mileva Marek. It was then in 1905 called the miracle year. They call it the miracle year that Einstein made headway, went ahead with his theories of relativity. So relativity theory is very famous. Very few people know relativity theory, but the theory and Einstein are very famous for that. Relativity fascinated him. It's a beautiful word. He always wondered what would happen. Now, we should read this very carefully. He always wondered what would happen if we go close to the speed of light. What will happen? He felt that time itself is not absolute but relative. But relative. Why? Because time itself was measured. That's a crucial point which Einstein caught and others had missed. Time itself was measured, passive voice, by some motion, and every motion was finite. Suppose you have a clock moving, it is a motion. So if you have to know the time, I have to see the clock. I have to see some motion. But if we go in the speed of light, our measurement of time while in motion at that high speed would be different from a man who was at rest and measured that same time. That is the logic here. Such a deep logic. When we are measuring time, our measurement of time itself changes. Time is relative. This led him to formulate wondrous theories of relativity that were later confirmed by experiments. We'll see these theory of relativity in our physics classes. As of now, it is about Einstein. For years, he pondered on these subjects. Pondered is a beautiful word. So why we must read carefully is also because we come to know good vocabulary. For years, he pondered, which means deeply thought about on these subjects and formulated. He created many theories on the photoelectric effect, relativity and general relativity, and Brownian motion. His thinking beyond what others thought, his sense of extreme adventure, rooted in wonder and deep feeling. You see, his thinking beyond what others thought, his sense of extreme adventure. Now, this adventure was rooted in what? Based in what? In wonder and deep feeling. And his love for mathematics found its fruits. He became a favorite of many scientists who realized that here was a genius. And his work was accepted. His work was accepted. He didn't accept, his work was accepted, and he got the Nobel Prize for his paper on the photoelectric effect. He traveled widely all his life, and wherever he went, people were struck. Again, we have used the word struck by this man, who is a relative pronoun there, was at once a giant of a thinker and the simplest man you could meet. So you can see that a long sentence can be easily understood 100%. He traveled widely, and wherever he went, people were struck by this man, who he was at once a giant of a thinker and the simplest man that you could meet. But at this time, his marriage fell apart and he married again. His second wife was Elsa Lowenthal. He had reached the pinnacle at an early age, but the wondering eyes and mind kept on looking at the world, and he kept feeling that the whole world could be understood. This is passive voice, could be understood in one unified theory. He did not succeed at this, but the quest never ended. Finally, at the age of 77, he passed away due to an illness. His is a life of thought, burning, that cannot stop, and lived for the joy of seeing things, not living blindly, but with his eyes open and questioning bravely what others just accepted without deeper thinking. See, even a long sentence, such a beautiful sentence. His is a life of thought burning that cannot stop, and lived for the joy of seeing things, not living blindly, but with eyes open and questioning bravely what others just accepted without deeper thinking. So this kind of linking of one unit to another unit, the second unit to the third unit to the fourth unit, can be done easily if we break a long, complex sentence into small parts. It's almost as if we can make a complex sentence into many smaller, simpler sentences. Why not? So, as you see, this is the simple essence of a story of an extraordinary man who said that for some people, life, there is nothing. Life is not a miracle. But for some people, live as if nothing is a miracle, and some people live as if everything is a miracle. So obviously, Albert Einstein lived a great life. His whole outlook and his whole mind was focused on this wonderful physical world. Thank you so much. This is Narendra Kumar, and I hope you understood with just this one story how well, how easily, simply we can do deep reading. Thank you so much. This is Narendra Kumar, and we are from Narendra Academy.